Nightmare on 19th. I'm Eric Grayson. This is the lovely Miss Domino, and this is Rampage Wrestling.
Hi, welcome to the BamBamORama podcast. My name is Jackson Grist.
My name is Adrian Estrada.
And we have our guest, Lance Moore.
Hello, hello.
Of the Rampage Wrestling production in Lubbock, Texas.
Yes, yes.
This is exciting because this is our first interview in Lubbock, Texas. This is our first wrestling guest. Some of y'all may know if you've seen our sketches, I'm a huge wrestling fan. We did a whole 45-minute episode on my predictions of WrestleMania. I was about 50-50.
That's pretty good, actually. That's pretty solid.
Right?
WrestleMania is a hard one to call, too.
It really is.
Yeah.
But so we're really excited to have you here.
Thanks for having me here. I'm excited. We're here at Nightmare on 19th. In Lubbock, Texas, this is our one adult hardcore show a year. There's going to be some violence tonight.
Oh, so y'all are going all out tonight?
Oh, yeah. There's a Texas death match. We haven't announced it, but on the show, they're going to turn it into the old school Terry Funk style death match where you have to answer a 10 count. It's not a pinfall or submission. It's if you can't stand up, then you lose.
Terry Funk
So,
time.
yeah, we're going to try to honor Terry Funk tonight.
Yeah, I'm not going to say what it was, but I saw them unrolling some really fun props.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm not in that match.
I would never do a death match. I've always dreamt of getting up in here and doing that stuff, but when I saw, not to talk about other promotions, but on AEW when Jericho did that death match with the death match guy, they went through real glass.
Yeah, he had a pizza cutter.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
So tell us more about y'all's thing. You're going all out tonight.
Yeah. So most of our shows are family friendly. We travel all over West Texas. We go to Odessa, Abilene, Seymour, Texas, which isn't really in West Texas. It's Texas nonetheless. We're in Dallas. We did a show in Fort Worth. So we're really all over the place. But like I said earlier, tonight is our one night of the year. Leave your kids at home.
Right.
Bring them if they like blood and gore and death. Nobody's dying, but it is a death match, so you never know what's going to happen in Rampage Wrestling. Shoot, there's a first time for everything, The whole reason we came out to Nightmare is one of the first guys that I trained, his name was Doldrum Powell, and he wanted to do the hardcore death style wrestling, and that's not my thing, I'm not really, I enjoy, some of it, but most of the stuff that they do nowadays is just a little too overboard for me. It's like Crash TV on steroids and cocaine, it's not cool, in my opinion. There are people that that's what they want to see.
I think it's nice for a change of pace, but every day, no.
Yes, that's what I try to tell our guys. That's what I was trying to teach Daniel at the time, or Doldrum. I was like, dude, this business is about longevity, and if you want to be able to do it for more than 5 or 6 years, you don't need to cut yourself every match.
Right.
You don't need to go through a table or glass or fall 10 feet or even just take a simple concrete bump every match. Do it a couple times a year, do it, have it mean something, and then people will come pay for it. If it's constant all the time, it's like I like to use the McRib. The McRib is garbage. Let's be honest here. But I'm in line for a McRib when it comes out.
I'm the exact same way.
It's very suiting
it
analogy.
Is. But if you make yourself a Big Mac, then people are going to get tired of it. But if you make yourself a McRib and you only come around every so often or only give them something every so often, people are more willing to pay for it and stand in line for it. I told that guy, I was like, if you learn let me teach you how to be a pro wrestler, and then I'll find a way for you to do your deathmatch thing. And so he made the deal. He turned out to be a pretty good pro wrestler, so we worked a deal with the guy that owns Nightmare on 19th, and we do our one hardcore show here a year. The first one was a tournament to crown a hardcore champion, and he won the tournament, and then he passed away, and then we did a tournament to crown a new champion. Now that it's instead of just being the Nightmare Hardcore Championship, it's the Doldrum Powell Memorial Hardcore Trophy. Right. And it's one of his boots that we took and wrapped it in barbed wire and mounted it. It's pretty tight.
That's sick, man.
And the fans out here, they'll start chanting "pow" and "pow." It's cool. They're bloodthirsty. We look forward to this one night a year. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Tell us a little bit more about what got you started, though. I mean, how long have you been doing this?
With Rampage Wrestling since 2015. I joined the Army right after high school and then went in the military. When I got to Fort Bragg, there's a lot of really solid wrestling schools in the North Carolina area. But I was in the military in the height of the Iraq War. And so I was not allowed to do anything cool. It was if you do this, we're going to kick you out of the Army and you're going to get in trouble and it's going to hurt your life. But then when I got out of the Army, I moved back to Lubbock and started trying to figure out how I could do something like that, I contacted a couple of promotions. They didn't have any interest in training anyone at the time. I had just gotten some money from the military, from some disability money through the VA. And so I had some change, lying around. And I was like, hey, let's build a ring and get some training and start a wrestling promotion, And he thought he didn't believe me, he's like, yeah, let's do it, bro,
Right. He
Clanging beers. Yeah.
That,
yeah.
Yep.
And then like a month later, I like called him on a Friday. I'm like, dude, I just bought all the metal we need for a ring. I've got a building. We just need to find somebody that can weld. He knew somebody that would weld. We paid this dude, I think, a 30-pack of beer and $60, and he welded us a ring in a day.
Is that this ring?
No. So this is a Monster and Rings cages. We ordered, once we built our own ring, we realized after about 2 events that this is not going to cut it.
No.
And then I got booked. I got a booking in Amarillo and went up there and wrestled on a professionally made ring and was like, this is what we need. This is totally, the ring that we had like sagged. The padding we had was like 4 layers of carpet padding that we stacked it, layers, and then duct taped the end of it to like make it, like one piece, and then we rolled it up, and it weighed like 900 pounds and took 8 people to carry it. The whole thing was just asinine. So we ended up saving up some money and buying a real ring. And so we've been doing events since 2015. We've come a long way. We started in Boys and Girls Club, YWCA gyms. Our first few shows did really well. They drew, it was family, most of my family and friends and the guys' family and friends coming to see their first match, But as in anything, in music, any kind of entertainment, your family and friends are going to come one time and then they did it. I saw you, buddy. I did it. I remember that one time I came and saw you. I did that. I did my obligation to you.
Right, the one time.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened. Everybody came like 1 or 2 times, and then it was on us to go out and create like legitimate, real wrestling fans of our company. And so we struggled, doing that because it's hard, like convincing people to show up. And then once they show up, you got to be good. You got to be able to perform and hook them. But now, man, we're rocking and rolling. Like I said earlier, we're in like 4 towns. We've got a show every month. Some months we're 2 a month, all over West Texas and Texas, and we have good crowds. And our crowd, the fans are hot. There's different areas of the world in America. People will say, oh, the crowd in Philadelphia is really hard, or the crowd in over here is really easy. And I've always my like experience with that is no crowd is hard if you're good. If you can reach them, they're not hard. You just got to give them what they want and be good at it. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I'm glad we're where we're at now. I'm glad to be working with you guys now. This is fun. This is gonna be cool.
You were talking about how this is gonna be like the bloodiest, of everything. Is there anything different storyline wise, or are we talking about this fits in with the stories that y'all have in place?
We'll keep things going. We're not going to blow anything off here. Usually we'll just kind of keep things, keep some heat on some stuff. This is a free event, so like the wrestling portion is free to the fans, and anything that's free, I try not to like give them like a big I don't want to give them a filet mignon. You know what I mean? I want to give them a sirloin or a London broil.
Just enough to get them to come back.
Yeah. Let them be like, this is yummy, but if you come next time with $10, I'll give you really yummy.
Yeah.
And so we try not to do a whole lot. Like the death match is the draw, and then the rest of the guys their job is to make these people want to come see them again and pay for it. And we do a couple events like that a year. We do Comic-Con, and that's what that is too. It's like just a exposure type of event, trying to get in front of people that maybe don't normally know that wrestling's in their town. Or exists at all. We've had people like, what is this? Period. Like, what is this? And then they're fans. A lady that works with my wife's an educator, and one of the counselors at one of her sister schools found out about it and was like, that's ridiculous. I got to come see this, And then they came to one like 2 years ago, and they've been front row at every event since. Because she's like, I didn't know this existed, and I needed this in my life. This is the greatest thing ever. Same thing. Some girls that I work with were like, they're like, I like to go to it because it's funny. It's like a carnival. And I was like, to them, I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool, yeah. And then I went into the back and told these guys, like, they think it's funny. They think it's fucking funny. You think this is funny? But now those girls travel. They'll be here tonight, but they travel and drive and pay in tickets.
It's exciting when you can build a little fan base that really, really comes and...
Yeah, organically, yeah, and that's what's cool. Most of the people that are here are here because they want to be here, not those people, like I said a minute ago, that are obligated to their friend the one time. You know what I mean? Most of the people that come now are just because they like it and they want to come see our show.
What other things do you think we can give the people to bring them to the...
November 18th in Abilene, Texas, we've got our Big Country Rumble. Every year we have a Rumble, kind of like the WWE does. Ours is for a little bit different. So our Rampage Rumble in Lubbock that we do every year is for the rights to Rampage, which is like money in the bank briefcase type of thing, where the guy that wins that can cash in any time for any championship. This one is going to be for the Big Country Championship, and the Big Country Champion is going to defend it. So he's going to be the first guy in the ring, and he's got to go through 25 to 30. I'm not 100% sure how many guys are going to be there.
That's awesome.
It's going to be insane. And Abilene, we haven't given Abilene a Rumble yet. We've given them some other cool stuff, but I really think that, and we're drawing 350, almost 400 in Abilene right now, and I think with this event, we'll get 400 at this next event.
How many performers will you have in the ring at one time?
I honestly can't answer that. So we set our Rumble up, so we'll get 2 guys, just like the Royal Rumble, we'll get 2 guys in there, and then every 90 seconds we get another guy. So technically, if nobody gets eliminated until everyone is in the ring, right now I think I've got 27 guys right now, but I'm trying to get to 30 before November 18th make it big. But if not, we'll drop it to 25. I mean, we got 28, 29 right here, right?
I was going to make
30.
that joke. I won't even joke. I'm not even going to lie.
Here at BamBamORama, we like to do a thing we call weaseling. We like to either get you involved in our business or try to weasel our way into your business.
That is, we call that carny in the wrestling business, and I am a carny.
So this gentleman right here has been getting back in shape, and as you can see, he's looking pretty fit nowadays.
Absolutely.
Can we get him knocked down, whether it's today or sometime soon?
Yeah, we could probably work on figuring out a way to do that.
All right.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. I like getting people involved. So, quick story. I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's a guy in like the video game outfit.
Yes.
Joshua 8-Bit. He started as a fan. Came to like our second and third and fourth show and would do live he would do prediction videos on Facebook before our events, and then like an hour after our events would go live on Facebook with like results and talking.
Opinions.
And so we had one performer that would like kind of give him a hard time at the shows, you know. And then he asked, "Can I interview someone?" And I'm like, "Yeah, interview this guy." He doesn't work with us anymore, but Benjamin Washington. And he did like this Malibu's Most Wanted rapper gimmick. He's a short little white guy with male pattern baldness, you know, like not ghetto at all, you know, like it was one of the great. If you go on our YouTube and look up, he's got rap video. Like he was very good, very entertaining. I was like, "Yeah, interview this guy." And he's like, "Okay, well." Ben Wash goes to this guy's girlfriend behind his back and gets led into his apartment for the interview and like busts in his room like while he's live on Facebook, and then says his room smells like rotten ham and all this other crap, like just totally buries him. And he didn't know. So he's like, you know, like totally shocked. It was hysterical. But he just kept messing with him. And I told him, the wrestler, I'm like, if you keep messing with this dude, he's going to beat you. He has to beat you because this is storytelling. This is what this is for. And so we ended up building to that. And I told the dude, I was like, we're not going to teach you everything. We're going to teach you just enough to keep you safe so you don't get injured and you don't injure my guy. And then the guy went out there and like old schooled him and like beat the shit out of him for like 15 minutes. And he sold, the fan guy, 8-Bit, sold like 80 tickets to that show to his friends and family.
Really?
Because Ben Wash was talking about taking his girl and like it was very good. And people were like on their feet for the match. And Ben Wash just beat his ass for real. Like for real, for like 10 minutes. Like busted, like pulled him in front of his mom and was like, like punched him in the mouth, like trying to get him to bleed. Yeah. So that way he'd go home and be like, "It's fucking real, man. It beat me up, you know. I won, but it beat me up." But after the match, he was like, "Can you train? Can I train to do this for real?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, you can, man." So I'm all about it, dude. If you want to get involved, we'll figure out a way to do it. That'd be tight.
I'd love to.
That'd be tight.
I'm very excited about that, to see my best friend get beat up by a bunch of people.
I mean, we do have a guy. Have you seen Bo Amir yet? He's 7 foot tall,
Yes.
290
Was
pounds.
he at Odessa?
He was in Odessa.
Yeah.
He's our champion now. He beat Mac last weekend
did he?
in
Oh,
Plainview.
okay, cool.
He did, yeah. Chokeslammed me right before the match too. Yeah, it sucked. He is huge.
Yeah,
He's
he's a
huge.
giant.
Yeah,
Oh
he
my
really
God.
is a giant. Yeah.
I'll tell you that. So my son Oliver was with us when we were in there. I don't remember what that guy did. He was a heel.
Yes.
Right? He did something, and I was standing up. I was like, "You need to stop that." My son doesn't realize what wrestling is.
Yeah.
He grabbed me. He was like, "Daddy, stop." that guy's
gonna hurt you. Yeah, for real. Yeah, he's a tremendous talent. Unfortunately, he won't be here tonight. He will be there in November, though. So back to that. So we got the Big Country Rumble in November in Abilene. January 6th in Lubbock, Texas, at our home venue, the Prima Vista. We will be having, I don't know that we've come up with a name yet for the event, but we will have a tournament to crown a new champion for a new championship that we're going to debut and introduce in November. And then you heard it here first. Gangrel will be here in Lubbock on January 6th. Gangrel, the Gangrel, Fangin' and Bangin' Gangrel. So we're super excited about that. And then a bunch of shows coming up through next year. February, we'll be back in Abilene. March, back in Lubbock. April 20th, we'll be back in Midland. We're not going to be in Odessa this time. We'll be in Midland, but we're going to be at the Horseshoe, one of the pavilion rooms. It's going to be dope. That one's going to be a huge show. So we're looking forward to all those days. We've got a lot of stuff coming and some cool stuff that we've not done before next year in Lubbock and maybe in some other towns, some like special holiday style events that we're looking forward to doing. So yeah, man, it's just growing like wildfire. It's crazy.
Domino, welcome. What do you do for Rampage Wrestling?
I'm the owner, yes. My role behind the scenes has evolved over time. I used to be much more involved in the process, and then, just due to some personal family circumstances, and I had a baby.
Well, congratulations.
And so, thank you very much. So I've kind of backed off on a lot of the more day-to-day promoting, aspects of it. But I used to do everything from make our flyers to help with booking. I've managed, I've done a lot of things, but now I just like to call myself owner and come and sit and look pretty and classy and watch the show.
Well, it sounds like you earned that, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I feel I did. Mm-hmm.
Do you all have like a dynamic where you get to kind of parade around as the owner and the...
Yeah. I mean, I'm always in charge. I'm the boss, and it feels good to be the boss lady. But also, for the sake of the fans, there has to be a figurehead. There has to be somebody to look to to say that person's in charge and has the final say on things.
Right.
And, if I don't know the answer to the question, as in all aspects of life, I know where to send that person. So I know enough information to move things along and answer questions, yes.
So what kind of advice would you give to someone that's maybe a little bit younger or even just amateur trying to get?
Okay, so it depends on how old you are. I'm going to put it that way. We have a lot of kiddos, little like 10 or 12-year-old.
What is the youngest you would entertain that conversation with? If
So
you don't mind
I
asking?
entertain that question at every show with, elementary school kids, and what I always say is get into the wrestling program at your school, because that always translates when you're ready to go professional. Once they get to be about 16 or 17, if they're, showing an engaged interest, then they can contact us about working as staff from the shows. And so that gives them an opportunity to kind of see the behind the scenes, help with the setup of the ring. We don't like to train them unless they are out of high school generally.
I understand that. Liability and...
Yeah, and I'm a high school guidance counselor during the daytime. And so it's just really important to me that you've put that first and gotten your education. But we do have them younger than that come to train every once in a while. Usually their parents are also involved in wrestling, so there's that connection there. But generally, you can come help at a show at 16 or 17 years old, if you're showing that interest. And we do have a young man who's senior in Clyde, Texas, and he comes to all the Abilene shows and helps out, and he plans to move to Lubbock at some point and train with us. So you're never too young to be interested, but you might be a little too young to, be enveloped in the business.
Well, I think that's fair, and I think education is important. I'm a former teacher.
Okay.
So I feel that too.
Yeah. And I'll also say, kids go through a phase a lot of times where it's not allowed to be cool anymore. You know what I mean? And so a lot of kids go through that like around high school. They're not allowed to like wrestling, and then they come back to it, in their 20s and stuff. You do have to kind of gauge how much their actual level of commitment is, because it is a huge financial and time sacrifice to be in the business.
This is really its own art form, right?
Mm-hmm, it is.
And a lot of people will have like the old cliche thought process of the starving artist. Do you think that it's definitely true in here? And if so,
yes.
What is some advice for getting over the humps of that?
Well, first of all, I think that, there's a misconception that if you want to be a wrestler, that this can be college in the sense that you can go and pay a tuition. We've had people contact us thinking that we had a dorm of some kind. And I think in the olden days, that was kind of a thing. I think there are still larger training facilities, up north and stuff, that might be a thing. But, at this level, what you're looking at is you need to have a real job. You need to have a shoot job. You need to try to find a job that you're off all the weekends. But you are going to get paid for wrestling, but it's not going to be a lot. It'll be your gas home. It'll be your meal on your way home. You know what I mean? You've got to buy legitimate gear, and gear costs money, especially custom boots and masks and stuff like that.
And it takes a lot of work to make this a full-time gig if that's your goal. Do y'all have any wrestlers that have this as a full-time gig, or all of them got day jobs?
No, they all have day jobs at this level. And honestly, I've interacted with a lot of guys from a lot of different promotions, from a lot of different places. We all have shoot jobs. And it runs the gamut. There's guys who do landscaping. There's unemployed guys, That doesn't mean they're making their living on wrestling. but they maybe don't do something else. One of our guys is a nurse, a registered nurse, Obviously, I have a master's degree. I'm a high school guidance counselor. So there's just like the whole gamut of different kinds of people. And that's what's kind of cool about the business is I have been exposed to, become friends with, become family with people who I would have never interacted for any other reason except for pro wrestling.
That's fun. It's a nice mixed group, right?
It is.
Because everybody's got their own origin, but then the one thing tying together is wrestling.
Yes, and then we come together and we make this thing that's special together, and it's like this group goal, and it's kind of neat.
We know a few of the dates going. Is there any particular date that's coming up?
Sure. Our next big one is going to be in Abilene. It's going to be our Rampage Rumble in Abilene. That's the first time we're bringing the Rumble to Abilene. That's going to be a huge show. The Abilene fans are insane. They're unlike any other fans, and Abilene's my hometown, so I have like a special spot, and I love those Rampagers, not more than any other Rampager. I'm not going to say that out loud, but I love being in that town. And then on, I believe it's January 6th, we're going to have a huge show. We've got some announcements coming up for that, and maybe Eric Grayson has already shared that with you. But those are the only 2 dates I know off the top of my head. We're getting kind of far out there. So,
any particular match you think we should be focusing on tonight?
Oh man, the death match.
The death match.
So the thing about Rampage is that we really strive to not only be family friendly, but I like to say a little bit kid friendly. We really want those over the top gimmicks.
Right.
We really want to be able to engage with families, especially the younger members of those families. But this is the one time of year where Rampage is adult, and that death match is one of the I'm going to be watching the entire time through my eyes like this, through my hands. But it is exciting, and it's at a level that we just don't see any other time at Rampage Wrestling.
Well, Domino, thank you so much for putting this together for us. We're going to continue to come check y'all out. Y'all make sure to come check Domino and the Rampage Wrestling group out.
It's exciting.
We
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
No, see, like when you see me in the ring, that's just me. But like I just have the green light to just act weird because it's wrestling. 100,000% me. Like that's me
you?
behind the curtain. Yeah, that's
There
just
you
me. Unfortunately, so like whenever I do something out there, and I'm like, yeah,
There's no kayfabe to break here. You're just who you are on stage.
But that's convenient
cool.
for you, right? Because you get to just be
yeah,
chilling.
like I don't have to like sit in the back and shut the lights off for 30 minutes to get into character or whatever or stuff like that. Like it's just, I'm just me. Like they play my music and it's just kind of like before a football game for me. I just get a little hyped and I get a little amped and I just walk out there and just start yelling at people.
So, how long have you been doing this?
Yeah.
About 4 or 5 years. Like total, like my journey is like a little weird. Like I wrestled from about 2016 to 2017, and then I took like a little 3-year break with like family, life, different stuff, school, stuff going on. And I came back 2020, a great year to come back to do something.
Right.
And like my New Year's resolution was to make myself happy, and wrestling made me happy. And then like I trained for a couple months, and like they opened me back with big open arms, man. Like I came to training, they tried to put me like with the fresh new guys, but then after like one training, they're like, okay, you can just like start coming back like to regular training. Like you haven't really lost a step, and I appreciated that. Then the world shut down, and I didn't get to have a match for like another like 7 months, but like, you know, I just took that as more training to get better, hone my skills.
So when y'all did come back, did y'all have an audience in front of y'all, or was it like...
We had some matches out that we recorded, we put on Facebook Live in our dojo. A couple of my title defenses are on there, we did out live. And then we pre-recorded some matches, but then our first like show back like live in front of people, we had it at a gym, and we had like groups of people like 6 feet apart. Like you can, like if you're a family, you can sit here. Another group, you can sit over here. And we were limited to like 150 people. And we sold that place out, you know, pretty easy. But it was cool. That was our first time back. That was my first match back in like 3 years. And like I was nervous, but people lost their minds when I came out. They still remembered me and they were happy, and that made me feel like good and happy to come back. Yeah, it was cool because like I was thinking, like, you know, they'd forget about me. I was just you know, just another dude. But apparently, after I left, people had asked about me, wondered where I'd gone and stuff like that. And so that made me feel good because like I didn't think that I made any type of impact when that first little year. Because I'm not gonna like, I didn't win a lot of matches when I first started wrestling. So the fact that people cared about me still, that like warmed my heart, and that kind of willed me to go on to start winning more matches and eventually become a champion, which is kind of like, I like my journey because I wasn't a Goldberg. Like I didn't just hop out and start just beating people willy-nilly. Like I had me a struggle, bro. I was getting whooped for like my first year, but like with every loss you learn something. And then so I just took that, and from every match I learned something and try to get better, and that's just like my goal.
How long did you say you have held this championship?
So this championship right here, like, cause I've, not to brag, I've won different ones.
You've won a few, okay.
I won a few.
No, please do brag.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, so the first one I won, which is funny enough, my first ever singles match, I won the Rising Star Championship here in Rampage Wrestling, which was awesome. So my first ever like one-on-one match, I main evented and I won a championship. That was a Rising Star Championship. I won that one 3 times. You have to say it like that. You got to say it 3 times. This one, I'm a two-time Big Country champion. And right now, I'm sitting over like a little over 300 something total days. Yeah, and I'm a former Rampage champion. I actually just barely lost it a couple weeks ago to some big 7-foot-tall French guy. Yes, I know it's wrestling is an interesting thing. And like my friend asked about it too. He was like, "Are you still a 2-strap Mac?" And I was like, "No, I lost it to a 7-foot-tall French guy." And he was like, "Well, at least we can blame it on the French." That's what he said.
So let me ask you about that. Coming off of, and I hate to even use this word because I don't want to rub it in, but coming off of a loss of that title, what's the game plan?
I have to get back, regroup, and I'm going to try to get my other one back. Plain and simple, because that man, his name's Bo Amir, Face of Fear, 7-foot-tall phenomenon, and he's tore through the Rampage roster. And as a champion, that buck and that line was supposed to stop at me, and I kind of failed. And so I want to try again, because I know I could beat him. I almost made him tap out. I was the one who made the giant bleed, and I know that I can do it.
Kind of like the rooster reestablishing his, dominance in the coop, right?
Oh yeah, of course. I have to, because everybody saw that.
We want to give you the opportunity to plug anything you want, but then we want to ask you finally if you got anything to tell any of our viewers who don't really know you, one little thing about Mac and why they should come watch you.
I have a Pro Wrestling Tees store. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com, type in Mac the Franchise. Got 6 shirts on there, black and yellow, all kinds of designs you guys will like. You guys can check it out. This is one of them right here. I got all kinds of Mac swag. That's what we do. See, I'm a pretty intense, aggressive wrestler, but I'm probably one of the goofiest guys you'll ever meet on the planet. It's like, I'll joke and jive with you. I'll talk with you about football, but like if you're my opponent and as soon as that bell rings, you should run for your life. So that's something you should know about me.
So you hear it, guys. Really nice and friendly, but don't push him, because he's going to come and take your ass out.
Exactly.
That's right.
So make sure you guys come watch Mac and all the other wrestlers here. Mac, thank you for your time, champ. We really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you guys for having me on, man. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
That's really
Mac, it was nice to meet you.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Just follow Rampage Wrestling on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I'm not super good about putting stuff up on YouTube. I want commentary on our matches before I put them on YouTube. We used to put them on YouTube just straight up. We would edit them with some replays and some graphics and stuff. This is professional wrestling, not amateur wrestling, so it needs to look professional. And it's easier for fans to get involved if they don't know who it is and someone can be like, this is so-and-so and this is his move. Last time he was doing this, then it's like, oh, okay, now I understand why he punched that guy in the dick. You know what I mean? Like, now I get it. So we want to get commentary, but if you follow us on Facebook, you'll get all of our promos, all of our shows upcoming, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. And we're on Eventbrite. The only city we don't sell tickets on Eventbrite is Abilene. And that's just for this November event. It's on etix.com through the convention center, but we usually do Eventbrite. So if you follow us on Eventbrite, you'll get notifications of any event we're selling tickets to. That's our speed. That's my, that's where we're at, and that's how to find us. And I always like to tell people, we'll sell you the whole seat, but you're only going to need the edge.
Lance, we are very grateful for your time.
Yeah, I'll see you guys at the matches. Thank you guys for having me.
Let's go
This
watch
was a
some
pleasure.
blood. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.